All right, it's good, everyone. Welcome back to it. It's the Chillout with Lectrow, another episode of the Chillout with Lectrow. It's been a minute, actually, since we dropped. We took a long break, but we're back, and what a good way to come back and start the year. I am joined by someone who I refer to as one of the greatest DJs this country has ever seen. I mean, it would honestly be disrespect if I put it on gender with this person. You know what I mean? If you're thinking someone that knows how to make hip-hop, tick. Broadcaster, tick. Gorgeous, tick. Talented, generally, tick. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by the one, the only Nongaba. Oh, Nongaba Hwak. Otherwise known to you guys as Miss Cosmo. Boo, 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 boo.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm all right.
Welcome. Thank you so much for making the time to come chill out with me, and let's have a conversation and talk all things music.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I haven't done like a feature interview in a very long time, so
yeah. So the chill out is the platform for you. Bro, why do you call yourself Miss Cosmo?
It's a name that was given to me by DJ Dimples.
Yeah,
actually.
the
late great DJ Dimples. It was really just something so stupid. We went out for drinks, and I was just chatting to him about me trying to get into the DJ industry. He's actually one of the people who made me feel comfortable about actually getting into DJing and becoming a hip hop DJ. But at the time, I was working in a corporate space, and I didn't want, to kind of blur the lines there. So it just made sense for me to kind of come up with an alias, because I just thought DJ Noni is going to be a little bit boring,
Yeah.
So then 1, 2, 3 Cosmopolitans down, and I became DJ Cosmo after that. I'm the one who added the Ms. though, just to kind of emphasize the fact that I'm female.
Yeah, we had a good conversation off air about the state of hip hop in SA right now, and I was being honest in saying this. I said to you that I don't think hip hop in SA is dead. I generally think that in South Africa we don't appreciate talent enough, and we always jump onto the next. What's trending now? What's moving now? I mean, what do you think of the current state of hip hop in SA?
Hey, hip hop. Hip hop, I want to be hip hop, but my feelings, way too many feelings, not too much movement. Look, I'll always live and die for hip hop, because that's what actually got me into this industry. But I've just always been a fan as well. Like, you'll find me always at the front line of supporting a lot of South African hip hop artists. But it just does frustrate me in the sense that things aren't moving, and people are constantly finding excuses as opposed to beating the odds. If you are seeing a competitor, if you're in a competition or you're a boxer, you're going to study your opponent. You're going to look at your opponent and say, okay, what are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? How can I beat this person? How can I get myself to the top of my game? Yeah, I think that's how people need to kind of view the music industry. They need to view themselves as a hip hop artist, to say, okay, cool, I'm no longer just competing with another rapper. I'm not competing with everybody else who's in this music industry. Amapiano's coming in hot and heavy. They're the new kid on the block. Everybody's giving them praise. But why are they getting the praise? They're putting in the work. They're marketing themselves. They're making sure we are paying attention. I think hip hop got extremely complacent in the sense that they're very expectant of things to fall on their laps as opposed to doing the work. It goes to show that there are artists out there who are still making noise and people are paying attention. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having the likes of Blackie, the Qoilas. The Qoilas came in, they made a noise, they made us pay attention.
They made a name for themselves.
Why are we paying attention? Because they are forcing us to pay attention, which is exactly what other artists are doing as well. So this thing of people saying that no, hip-hop doesn't get support, I think it's a little bit of an excuse. I think people need to kind of put their gloves on and get to work.
Yeah, I remember I had an interview with Ginger Trill. Some might know him as Ginger Braidman, and he said to me, look, bro, hip-hop has never really been a big genre in South Africa. It's just that at the time when we were getting the hype, we were booked at spaces that weren't really hip-hop. Now that we're not getting the hype anymore, we're not getting those booking anymore, but we need to accept the fact that we never were a big genre in SA. What's your take on that?
I agree and I disagree. I agree in the sense that, yes, we were never a big genre in South Africa because technically speaking, hip hop is an American culture that we've adapted. The same way America's adapting Amapiano. It's vice versa, this thing. So from that perspective, I agree with him. We were at the height of 2015, 2016, gigging in places that didn't naturally have hip hop spaces, because South Africa is a dance nation. We like to dance, we like to sing along, we like to ululate, we like to do a lot of mchaivo, whether it's a funeral, it's a wedding, it's a birthday, it's a Valentine, siyacula, you know? So it was interesting that time when hip hop was also getting a lot of attention, was also because South African hip hop artists were also making music that South Africans wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I think a big issue that we're having today is that because it's an American culture, South Africans sometimes also feel like they need to sound American to be relevant or to be on key of whatever's happening in the world.
Yeah.
No, you still need to sound South African to be different, because Americans don't want to hear another American in another country.
True. Yeah.
They want you to come as a South African with a different flair of what they already have. They've already got enough of Drake and Kendrick and J. Cole and everybody else. But you need to come in with your own thing and sound like a Questa and sound like
As
Java, sound like a KO, sound like somebody who is coming with a South African energy, but you're still keeping to the basis of what hip hop is. And I think that's where the lines have kind of gotten lost, is that people are trying to sound too much with the mosh pit gang. Like I don't have an issue with mosh pits, ne? Please don't get me wrong. Sometimes I find myself inside them. You know, those things can sweep you up very fast. But I think when it comes to relating to South African markets, you need to make music that is joyful and sing along. Like at the time, 2015, we were singing happy music. People were making music that was making us feel good about ourselves. We weren't questioning ourselves and feeling depressed and whatever. Now I feel music is very like dark and grungy and slightly depressive, and I feel like hip hop, we need to get into a more joyful sound, and that's why Amapiano is working, because Amapiano reaches into your soul. It speaks to how you're feeling as a person, and puts you in a position where you want to sing, where you want to say, oh, this is my feeling, you're speaking on my behalf. I don't think hip hop is doing that for South Africans right now, the music that they're making and the sounds that they're choosing. And I think that's the disconnect for me. And that's how I view it. And I think if we can just kind of, you know, turn the turnstile a little bit and say, okay, what works for South Africa? We need to sing again. We need to be happy. We need to be dancing. We need to be joyful.
Speak to South Africans.
Let's speak to South Africans. We might, you know, see ourselves do a little bit of a turnaround again. Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I remember when we were kids playing soccer, I think like every boy kid growing up, you play soccer and you hope you're going to make it as a footballer one day, and then turns out you're a broadcaster. I think that's where Bafana lost it back in your Rinelo Lutsulunyani days when we had the World Cup. We were all trying to play like people from Spain. You know, we were watching a lot of Barcelona, and then we tried imitating them, giving ourselves Bochavi nicknames and that. And then when we had to play against those people, we always fell short, because now those people, that's their identity, that's how they play. So I think with hip-hop, it's also that, trying to sound like a J. Cole, trying to sound like a Kendrick Lamar, trying to sound like a Drake, whereas look at us Java. We like him and the music that he does. Look at Usmamani, you know what I mean? And same thing you're saying about the piano guys, right? So here I am, upcoming artist, Nplomile Raikasi, Elokshini, and I want to come into this hip-hop space. What advice do you have for me?
Everybody can rap. So don't let that be the basis of how you're going to take it to the top. If you are a really dope rapper, prove to me that you're a really dope rapper. Create a community, create a sound, create a following where people can follow you around and say, yo, this person's, so that other people are making noise on your behalf. This thing of just sending an email. I used to get this all the time when I was on radio. It used to frustrate me all the time. I would get emails where someone just sends a song. There's no contact number. There's no background on the song. There's no ICSRC code. There's nothing. There's no information. And I must just play a song. And then you get mad at me when you bump into me at a party. Who are you? I don't know anything about you. You're not giving me information for me to know anything or for me to investigate a little bit more. Because too expectant on, but I submitted, now you are a gatekeeper. All of a sudden, I'm the bad guy, but you're not doing the job. So if you're sitting in the hood right now and you're trying to break into this industry, put in the work. Market yourself in your local tavern, go and perform for free. Create a buzz in the spaces that you're in. Take constructive feedback. Artists have this thing where they don't want to be told what works and what doesn't work. If I'm a consumer and I must buy your music, you need to be able to hear me when I say, maybe this verse is not the one, but here you're winning. Let's stick in this direction. Take the feedback, hone your craft, and then start creating a community where you are.
Yeah.
At some point, that noise will filter through to every other hood where we'll be forced to kind of pay attention. And now we're at a position where radio is no longer breaking songs. The internet is breaking songs. The streets are breaking songs. Radio is literally following whatever's happening on the street. So don't expect radio to break you. You can break yourself on a social media platform or break yourself in your hood with people who can post about you. I mean, Uncle Waffles went viral on social media.
Yep.
Do you understand?
Fact, yeah.
There's plenty of artists who've also gone viral because of the community they created. Lowton Over Pounds went crazy in Pretoria, growing a community for him, where his boys were the ones who were bigging him up and making noise about him, to the point where everyone else had to pay attention. We didn't have a choice. Do you know what I mean? Now we're all singing Sosh Plata, but no one's ever been to Sosh Nguve. But you're singing the song.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Create the noise, and then people will pay attention. Stop sitting and waiting for people to do it for you.
Yeah. But I guess that's what kind of like separates Josie artists from Pretoria artists, right? And we can put this in every genres of music. Almost every artist that comes from Pretoria thrives in the industry because of their small community and they support one another. But we can't say the same about us here in Josie. It's always, I'm better than this guy. I'll make you a typical example. You find guys who come from Alex together, the Alexandra Township, they're the biggest producers in SA, but they don't even have a song together. Right? But you find someone from Pitor, look at Lowton Over Pounds, has a song with 25K. You know what I mean? They're moving as a circle, vocalistic, working with Babi Cooper, working with MJ, working with every other artist that does piano from his hood, and they're putting each other on, both DJ Tsikho and them. But here in Josie, it's always a thing of, no, Melaspane, I'm better than this person, I'm better than that person. Which now leads me to my next question. Do you think where you come from also plays a big role on how far you're going to come as far as the industry is concerned?
Yes and no. I'll say yes from a community perspective, because we all know that Pretoria has kind of created that community for themselves. But I don't think that's the beginning and end all, to be fair. Anybody can come from anywhere. If you are determined to be in a space, you will create those contacts and you will create those connections yourself. If you find that maybe you come from Tembisa, and nobody knows anyone in Tembisa or whatever the case. I'm not saying that's the case. It's just hypothetical. Maybe you don't know anybody in Tembisa. You haven't connected with anybody there, but you possibly can go to certain events and places. Find yourself at a cotton fest or whatever.
Yeah.
You connect with other artists there. You start hanging out with people there. You start connecting with them. You start making moves that side. That's how you create those contexts to then start moving in different directions. If you look at somebody like a Blackie comes from Durban, right?
Yeah.
He only met Nasty C in Johannesburg for the first time.
Jeez, yeah.
They're both from Durban, but he only met Nasty C for the first time in Johannesburg. He had to leave Durban to create contacts in Johannesburg, to push himself with other rappers in Johannesburg, to then take it to the top for him to be then recognized by other people from his own hood. And it's not to say that they were blocking him or whatever the case may be. He probably just didn't have that community built at that point, but he left Durban and left his comfort zone, because sometimes people also get stuck in their comfort zones and they don't want to then get themselves in other spaces. He forced himself to come to Johannesburg. He connected with people like Lucas Rabs, connected himself with Dr. Pepper, and then they then all worked their context to kind of build each other up and then support each other. So I think it's important for artists to not say, but I'm not from Pretoria, so I'm not going to make it. No, you can get yourself out of your comfort zone, meet other people, and then build with each other from there. Yeah.
Amapiano comes, apparently it's been there for a very long time. I didn't even know about this. When Amapiano rose to prominence, we were all rocking to hip hop, Zawa, Zakipa, Zigaza, whatever the music is playing. Amapiano comes, takes over. What do you think of Amapiano?
I think it's a great genre. I think it's very spiritual. It speaks to a lot of South Africans. Like I said, sometimes, that's the beauty of music. Music is a platform that sometimes you don't have the words, but then a song will come on and it will express exactly how you're feeling, and that's what you take from it. That's why people connect with music so greatly. Yeah. And I think Amapiano knows how to hone into that, the fact that like I said, we are a dance nation, so we're dancing, but at the same time, we're also feeling a lot of emotions. We're happy, we're sad, we are spiritual, we are crying, we are going through heartbreak, we're going through joy, but it speaks into all of those different spaces. It's also speaking in a language that people are also very comfortable in speaking in. And I think as South Africans, we also seem to forget not everything has to be in English. Some people, the larger community of South Africa, can't speak English. So how are you communicating with those people? You then have to then come back down and say, okay, what is my language? Maybe I speak Zulu, maybe I speak Tswana, maybe I speak Tonga, maybe I speak Venda. That is expressive in itself, and I think that's what touches South Africans. So I love the fact that Amapiano's kind of brought that back to say, okay, but we are South Africans, let's speak to South Africans and give them a voice through this music. I love the energy that it's creating. I love the way that they're moving internationally. I think it's a very important, and there's a page that we can all take out of their book to then say, they're pushing each other to a different level to then say, okay, this international thing is actually very possible. What are we not doing right in hip hop for us not to be in those spaces? Let's figure that out, and so that we can kind of get ourselves in those spaces as well. But shout outs to anybody in Amapiano. I appreciate the genre. I appreciate the movement. I think, if they contain it, not necessarily contain, let me scratch that. If they express themselves properly, and they manage it correctly, let me rather say that. If they manage it correctly, it can definitely be one of those genres that lasts for decades to come. Sometimes genres come in and out because the people inside the genre itself are the ones who are messing it up by doing the wrong things, being unprofessional and things like that. So let's just keep things above the line, and we'll keep soaring for much longer.
Manage it correctly. How?
I mean, that's what I mean. As in, like, sometimes there's a reason why EDM has been around for so many years. Anybody who has been in the dance scene will know that EDM is a very destructive culture. Like, they're busy with drugs. It's very noisy. They're very
too much energy.
Weird. Like, it's dark. It goes on for 24 hours. You could be popping pills and being in a funny place, and you just don't know where you wake up. I understand from a party culture perspective, it's wild. But from a professional management perspective, they are on the money. They make sure that things are done in a specific way. They market themselves in a specific way. They pay attention to sound. They pay attention to AV. They pay attention to technical. Mastering their music is a very important portion for their music. The collaborations that they put together, the events that they put together, it's all managed professionally. And they're making bank every single day. That's why it's been here for ages to come. So I'm hoping piano can do the same. Because you can get excited by having a really amazing song, but then you think you can leave your day job and run with that one song. And then that one song fades out after 6 months. What's your plan? You need to keep the train moving. You need to keep it moving. You need to have a team that knows what they're doing. Not your boy that you grew up with who wants to ride your coattails. No, somebody who understands how to do your bookings, how to send an email. Do you know how frustrating it is receiving an email from an artist and it's worded incorrectly? It just doesn't. Just by having the wrong email sent to the wrong person can block you on so many levels. Being brand conscious, being understanding about your position in the industry, social media platform, working with brands, arriving on time. That is a very crucial thing where some people don't do that thing. And it's so frustrating because now you're losing out on brand deals purely because you arrived 2 hours late. Do you understand? So that's what I mean by manage. Let's be professional about this thing. We can last so much longer. And you understand? Little things.
Like, piano guys need to quit avoiding interviews because we need to know your story. This is going to live for years and years to come. And sometimes you just want to know the person that you listen to on a much deeper level. I mean, for example, you've interviewed a couple of guys. Sometimes you find that you interview someone, we didn't even know what that person was going through. But with the interview, now I get to survive whatever shortcoming I'm facing because they spoke about that. Now I turn into a religious follower of this person. Like, this person makes good music. They're telling good stories. And at least I know where he comes from and people can learn a thing or two from that, So I think they need to start doing more interviews. And how do I avoid being a one-hit wonder? Because I've picked this up with Amapiano. It hardly happens with hip-hop. See, that's the one thing that
does happen with hip-hop. Happens plenty
but how often, though?
Happens plenty times with hip-hop. It
But
happens
how
plenty.
often? And with Amapiano, it's happened more than once, where you find someone comes in, Nasi Stog, whatever. It's just an example. Boom. We don't know the artist. We know the song. The song becomes bigger than the artist. The artist falls off. Another song comes, you feature big people, you know what I mean? Song trends, people listening to it, we're dancing to it, whatever dance challenge, and then the song falls off. Like, what do you think causes that, and how do I avoid that as an artist?
You just have to keep your eye on the ball. I mean, like, you're asking me something very basic. You just need to keep moving. The problem with the one-hit wonders become one-hit wonders because they are so excited by this one thing that's taken them to the top that they don't realize that you need to keep feeding this. You need to keep pouring petrol into your car. You pour 100 rand, it's going to get to your destination. Sure, you've made it now. But now you need to keep going. So you need to keep pouring into it. If you're not going to go to studio, if you're not going to be recording music, if you're not going to be releasing, if you're not going to be active, social media, going to events, performing, making your own context. I think a lot of artists that come in and they do the one hit wonder thing, they come in and they're excited by the immediate fame that they got, but they don't realize that, okay, now that I'm here, how do I maintain this thing? I need to keep releasing music so that they still keep attention to me. I need to make contacts with the promoters so that they can keep booking me. I need to create brand relationships with brand managers so that I can keep other work and other streams of income coming in.
Yeah.
So the one hit wonders, honestly, usually it's bad direction, if I have to be honest. It's the people who you're spending your time with, it's the people that you're working with, it's the people who have brought you in.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you'll find that maybe someone's taking a chance on you because they don't know you. Yes, the song is bigger than the name of the artist. Sure, that person's taking a chance on you, but they're also just like, okay, I've given you a chance. Now, what else can you give me? Oh, you're not giving me another song.
Yeah.
Okay, my train is moving. When you want to stay at the bus station, stay there.
So banana pambil.
You understand?
Yeah.
You can't be spoon fed your entire career. At some point, you need to own it.
Yeah. Let's talk about you for a second. Pretty lady from Soweto. When do you now realize that, you know what, I want to be a DJ and specifically play hip hop?
Hip hop has always been my first love. It's always been something that I've grown up with. Music wise, I've been listening to hip hop since I was a kid. You know, like watching music videos on TV, growing up, recording songs that were playing on the radio, that whole vibe. Yes, that's how old I am. Just, you know, growing with the culture as it started becoming slightly commercial in South Africa. So for me, hip hop has always been that genre. I mean, I think my first favorite local hip hop song was Double HP, How You Feel, because I was very big on like Notorious B.I.G. And his whole crew kind of running things at the time, and it was very commercial, very vibey.
Yeah.
When I spotted like a Double HP, I was like, hey, this guy's cool. He reminds me a bit of Biggie, but he's rapping in Setswana. Which one is this one? You know. So I really enjoyed that element, that it felt like home, even though it was still giving me the still jiggy vibe that I was getting from B.I.G. You know. So hip hop, like I said, always been entrenched in me. Even when I was growing up, music that I was collecting was majority hip hop. I had this Indian kid in school that was in my class. Don't do this, kids. Piracy is very bad. But I used to give him a list of songs that I'd wanted, like that I'd heard over the radio or whatever. So I used to make the list myself, give it to him, and then he'd burn the CDs for me. Yeah. So I kind of started my collection already in high school. So by the time I matriculated, I had already created like a stack, a catalog of like mix CDs of different songs that I used to enjoy. So obviously that kind of transferred with me going into varsity. I get my car. So now it's the everyone wants to be in my car because I've got the songs that everybody wants to hear. They're pumping in my car. When I go to Bryce or whatever the case may be, I bring my stack of CDs. And then there was one day I went on a road trip. A friend of mine at the time was dating Kulichana. Yeah. So Murafe had a performance somewhere in the northwest. I think it was Daung or something like that. Very far. What a long drive. So obviously playing my CDs on the road. And on that road trip, Kuli's just like, yo, man, you've really got an ear for this thing. Like, maybe you should try, like...
This is the first time you meet Kuli?
No, it's not the first time. Like,
Oh,
we'd hang
okay.
out because I mean, he was dating my friend.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, we were hanging out, but this was the first time us taking a road trip together. Obviously, my friend was there as well. So he was just like, yo, you've really got an ear for this music thing. Maybe you should look into this DJing, you know, see
Yeah.
if it's something that you want to get into. I was just like, ugh, Kuli, I'm studying finance. I'm going to go and be a banker. Leave me alone, you
Yeah.
know? Later, I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad idea.
Actually.
Actually.
Yeah.
This is where Dimples kind of comes in because then I have the conversation with him. He's also still in a corporate space at that time. He's like, no, we need more DJs, especially females. Come into the industry. We'll support you, what. So I take the lessons and...
Directly from Dimples.
No. I got my lessons from Fuse Academy.
Okay.
DJ Zintle's
DJ Academy.
at the time, yeah. So I did my lessons from there and then started, you know, I guess what helped me is also that because I grew up in Joburg, I used to go out all the time because in Tandizinto.
Yeah.
So I had already made friends with a lot of DJs in the industry. So they were kind of like supporting me. I mean, I was definitely horrible way in the beginning. After you have your lessons,
Yeah.
nothing comes together. But
We all, yeah.
yeah. So then I decided, you know what, let me try myself out, speak to a couple of friends. Funny enough, it was Teebs who actually gave me a break.
Yeah. Oh, man, the late.
Yeah, the late Teebs Mutsuwane. He used to host this event on a Sunday called My Boss Sundays. So on those Sundays, obviously we'll start during the day, and then he would get me on as a resident, and I'd play there every Sunday. There was a very heavy Durban July happening during my sets. But what Teebs appreciated was my song selection. I think he also had a really good eye for talent at the time. Anybody who knows Teebs knows that he worked in entertainment for a very long time before he went into the food industry. So he did artist management for a long time, and at that time he had an eye for, okay, this person's got, she's got a good ear, she's got a good selection.
Yeah.
Just need to kind of hone the skill a little bit. But all that is practice. And I needed to practice, so he allowed me to practice at his events, luckily. I'd never had decks at home, so some way it needed to happen.
Opportunity and ran with it.
You understand? So I got a little bit better over time. And then I got headhunted by YFM. That's when I joined YTKO to be the first batch of YTKO DJs ever.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was Cosmo on a Monday. It was me on a Tuesday doing R&B and hip hop. Josie Chavez was on a Wednesday. DJ Zandy was on a Thursday. And Shimza was on a Friday. Funny enough, when I was at Fuse Academy, my teacher who taught me how to DJ, DJ Zandy.
For real?
Yeah, he's the one who said, this is how you beat match. And he taught me on vinyls, mind you. It's not like I learned on vinyls before I had to move over to CDs. So I was literally beat matching and counting 1, 2, 3, all the way until I could get to where I needed to be. So shout out to Zandy. He's a really good teacher and he's still very supportive and a good friend of mine till today.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, when one listens to this, they'll think that it was easy. Of course, you had to put in the work, you had to learn how to DJ. But I just think that you met the right people at the right time and you made the right choices, you know. Shout out to you for making the choice to be a DJ, because if it went to finance, then we wouldn't have had the experience to listen to some of your amazing mixes. So now you're in the industry, you're playing, you mastered your craft, you know, your Sandys, people are talking about you. How was your first headline gig like?
Headline?
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
I think I was at many more for such a long time that I can't even remember my first headline gig. It must have happened, I think when I was on 5 by that time, because when I was at YFM, I was still very much trying to, get myself into like major gigs. Obviously, people were paying attention because I was on radio.
Yeah.
But I think the headlining stuff also started happening when I joined 5FM. It was also around the time when hip hop also started getting its hype. So it must have been around like 2014, 2015. I don't remember an exact gig, but by then I was a lot more comfortable in myself.
Yeah.
Because I had been DJing for a while by then. I'd also joined Channel O as a resident DJ doing basement as well, mixing the videos. Mixing videos is so much more different than just mixing music. I don't know what people think.
So are you like literally choosing the videos?
Yes.
How does that work out? Or how does it work?
I mean, you mix the audio, but it's different now because while you're mixing the audio in your headphones, you still have to make it visually appealing for the viewers. So you can't just mix in J. And music videos are worse because people will have a whole fight scene in the beginning of the music video before they get into the song. So that's also the harder part of trying to mix things because now you have to get through that before you can actually get to the beat that you're mixing in.
So you're selecting the scenes yourself.
It was very difficult. I won't lie to you. But it was a good experience for me. I think it was something I needed to go through to also learn a different medium of how to mix, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think by the time I got to headlining in 2014, I was very comfortable. I honestly don't remember, but I do know it had taken a lot of learning on the job and making a lot of mistakes for me to get there.
Yeah. So what are like the common challenges that you faced in the industry as a female? You know, and how do you conquer most of those challenges?
You know, as a female, it's frustrating because at the end of the day, this will always be a boys' club. DJing has began as a boys' club. It will always be a boys' club. Even today, it's still a boys' club, whether you want to believe it or not. They're just giving us the whole equality vote because they realize, okay, the girls are also kind of killing it too, whatever. But if it were up to the boys, I think they would still kind of sideline us, you know, and only book us in August because that's the only time they remember we exist. But
which is sad.
Sad but true. So I think it's just fighting through the battles. As a woman, there's so much more that we need to battle through, and that's a woman in entertainment, not necessarily just as a DJ. Even as rappers, even as actors, even as performers, whatever space that you're in as a female, you always have to work 150 times more than a guy does. Because a guy, for instance, just on appearance, a guy can get up from his couch in his tracksuit pants, his t-shirt he's been wearing the whole day, sweating in it, just put on a cap, go to a gig, rock his gig, and then go back to that couch and watch that soccer game.
Yeah.
A girl can't do that. I need to arrive because then it's my energy that is arriving. So I have to look a certain way.
Makeup.
So I can't repeat outfits. I have to have makeup. I need to do my hair. I need to lay my wig. I must wear heels. I must make sure that I've got a team with me, so it's also more expensive. Guys can arrive at gigs by themselves. For a woman in South Africa, I can't arrive by myself because it's not safe.
Yeah.
So on top of my paying for my hair and paying for my makeup and paying for an outfit, I must also pay a road manager to be there with me. I must also make sure that everything is set up, and I must still play 200 times better than a guy. A guy can easily just come in and say, I'm just going to play whatever mix that I thought of for today. It doesn't have to do too many things on the mix, whatever. They'll be like, you're rock Antoana. When it's a girl, it's like, oh, hey, you're shy into yakone. It's like we don't get as much praise or as much love or as much support.
Yeah.
It still happens in 2025. I can guarantee it. I see it all the time. Women always have to arrive much bigger to prove that we deserve to be here.
Yeah.
So those are, I think, are a little bit of the challenges. It's expensive to be a woman in entertainment. It's also we have to put in a lot more work, and we're still second guessed, even though we are doing everything much better than the guys.
Yeah, constantly fighting for relevance. I think DJs nowadays, this is a personal opinion, are different from DJs, especially from your generation, right? There was a lot of passion back in the days. Someone wouldn't just wake up and say, today I want to be a DJ. You knew that you had to put in the hours. You know, you had to learn how to mix. You had to choose a specific genre. You wouldn't really move from genre to genre. Today you're playing piano. Tomorrow you're playing hip hop. Next minute it's gospel. Do you think modern day DJs are as passionate as you guys were about DJing, or is it just about the bag now? And the fame, of course.
I mean, there's some who are passionate and there's some people who are not. There are those who are doing it for the bag. Yeah. And unfortunately, people also need to recognize, I think people need to remember that we're also in a space where technology is also advancing things and making things much easier. Yeah. When other DJs started out, your Black Coffees and Fresh and whatever, they had to play with vinyls. Yeah. And learning on vinyls is extremely difficult. It was also very expensive because you must pay for each vinyl. One vinyl is one song.
I didn't even know.
Exactly. One vinyl could give you only one song. I mean, maximum maybe you'd get like 3 songs. As time progressed, they started recording. They started recording more songs onto a vinyl. But there was a point where guys literally used to buy a vinyl because they were getting just 1 single out of it. That's why they had to carry 2 or 3 bags with them to gigs wherever they were going. So it was the energy of having to crate dig, because that's what also made you special, is that how did you find this vinyl?
Yeah.
It made it special. It was a journey that you were taken on by a DJ, because he's made the effort to go and find the song.
Yeah.
He's made the effort to put it into his vinyl rack. He's prepared his set for the day. So there was a lot more passion that needed to go into it, because it was time consuming, it was expensive, it was also one of those things where you needed to learn how to play, because vinyl players are also very sensitive.
Yeah.
You touch it incorrectly, your whole set is messed up. Do you understand? So for you to mix on 2 vinyls is also an extreme art. So I appreciate people who can still play on vinyl till today, because it is not easy.
Yeah.
Getting into 2025 now, technology has made it easy for all spaces in entertainment. And I say that because anybody can now be, anyone can be a videographer.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a radio host or a podcast host.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a DJ. Anybody can pick up a microphone or pick up a camera and have a whole channel on YouTube, and doesn't need the SABC or MultiChoice to put them on. Do you understand? So technology has now advanced things into an easier space, which is good for entertainment, because now we've got easier ways to produce what we need to produce, but it's also allowing people who don't necessarily understand the passion behind it to kind of seep in and say, it's a quick bag, let me just do it because I can, you know what I mean? I need the money. So I think gatekeeping slightly needs to come back. And I say slightly, very carefully. I say slightly in the sense that the reason why they were gatekeepers in the beginning was to ensure that we were getting the best of entertainment out of the people who we had headhunted, or the person had headhunted, or the person that was selected to play on that night. Yeah. Because you cared about the experience that was coming from that DJ, and you cared about the experience that the consumer was going to have on the night. So that set of gatekeeping needs to come in to ensure that the entertainment is top notch. Yeah. Now anybody is just coming in and anybody is going to do their thing. And then when people are complaining at the end of the night, who's to blame? The promoter.
Facts.
Because the promoters are the ones who are allowing things to just happen. Do you understand? So I think I appreciate that there's more people who are coming in, and that I never want to close the gates for new talent. I always want new talent to seep in. But I think that's the important thing about having people in those positions to know, or who can spot talent. Same way why an A&R exists in a music label. Yeah. Their job is to spot the talent to hone the talent, and to make sure that we are also producing good artists so that we can make money out of those good artists. Now anyone can just sit in their studio at home, put on Fruity Loops, buy a microphone, record a song, and then say, but I'm the hottest rapper. Are you really though? Yeah. Do you understand?
Is it your mom that's telling you that, because you can't really take that all the time?
Hence I say constructive criticism, very important.
Yeah. Ms. Cosmo, I promised to keep you here for 30 minutes, and I want to keep my promise. I don't want to go over it. So there's a game that I like playing. So I didn't have a name for this until I interviewed Cece, and she was like, no, call it the Lyric Master. So what I do with this game is I name 2 artists, right? And you tell me who's better than who lyrically.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I thought you were gonna want me to quote lyrics. I was gonna fail so badly.
Actually, you just gave me an idea.
I'm so bad at lyrics, back like I can tell the lyrics when I hear a song, but I can't recite them off the top of my head unless the song is playing. I can only sing along when the song is playing, but when it's silent like this,
yeah. Yeah,
you
ready?
Yes, let's go.
All right, cool. AKA Ricky.
Ooh, lyrically. I'd have to give that to AKA.
He was stronger than Ricky.
He was much stronger than Ricky, but Ricky had more flair. Ricky knew how to convince you that his rubbish raps were still the dopest raps. Yeah. And the thing is, everybody has that moment where they can say, this is just a throwaway rap for this song, because sometimes artists also just want to have fun. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you don't want to be sitting there with a dictionary and like throwing around words that nobody understands. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Ricky understood how to finesse the simple raps and make it sound cool.
And make it catchy.
And I think that's a talent. Like not anybody can do that.
Yeah.
You have to have a talent to understand how to make it sound really, really dope, even though it's not 100% like, you know, like a J. Cole rap.
Yeah.
So I think AKA had a little bit of both. He also had his moments where he also had those days where he could give us like but that's a throwaway rap, but he made it sound cool. But if we just talking lyrics straight up, I would give that to AKA.
Facts. Coolie China, Double HP.
Ooh, Double HP. Because Coolie is also a finesser.
Yeah.
Coolie is also, sometimes you listen, you're like, which one is that one? And then he's also got his days where he's in his bag.
Yeah.
Like Coolie can be in his bag, and then he can also then give us things where you're like, okay, you were just fooling around there because you actually didn't know what to say. But he made it sound so cool because he's got that finesse that you just let it slide.
Yeah.
Double HP was he knew how to make music out of his lyrics, and I think that was his
Actually,
talent. He was very musical about it. Like he could still be like full on give you proper lyrical raps because he's an old school rapper, but also make it sound so musical that you want to hear what he's saying and understand what he's saying and take you through a journey. So shout outs to that.
Shout outs to him, man. KO Questa.
Ooh, lyrically,
yeah. Powerful, who's stronger?
Questa. I've always been a Questa fan from the jump, from the beginning. I appreciate KO. He's very strong lyrically.
Yeah.
But I also believe KO only became stronger through time. I didn't really appreciate KO in the earlier days. Tear Gas Days, he wasn't my favorite. Even on his first couple of singles, he wasn't really my favorite.
Yeah.
I was still on the fence about KO when he came out as a solo artist. But I think with time, he's gotten stronger with every single song. It's like being in the gym. You get stronger as you keep going in and putting in the work. So I really appreciate him as a lyricist today. 2025 KO, top notch. But if I were to say over time, Questa's always been inside the bag from the beginning.
Who do you think has more hits between the two?
KO.
KO has more hits now.
Yeah, so if you look at catalog, KO 100% has got more hits. Questa's definitely got his hits, but from longevity, you must remember KO can still perform Tear Gas songs.
Yeah, facts.
And then also then still perform his own singles.
Yeah.
And he's always releasing. I think that's why KO till today will be headlining with Amapiano artists because he's always releasing. He's in the gym.
Yeah.
Get to the studio. Why are people not releasing music?
So, and he knows how to roll with these kids. He knows how to match the current times.
So KO will always be on the bill, and he'll always be getting the bag because he understands point number one, get to the studio.
Yeah, I was going to say that he managed to maintain relevance throughout his career, from Tear Gas to the dominance of hip-hop to now the dominance of Amapiano. He's still that guy, and he stuck to one genre. Shout out to him for that as well. And then let's take it away from hip-hop a bit, right? Amos Daliwonga.
Ooh. Musically, Amos. Sonically, Daliwonga.
Okay.
I say sonically in the sense that he's got a really amazing voice that he knows how to play around with. I like people who can play with their voices.
Yeah.
Daliwonga can give you like a really cheeky song, and then in the same breath, he can also give you a very emotional song.
Yeah.
I like people who can play around like that. Amos is a storyteller throughout, and he's just taking you on I'm a musical artist. He's one of those people who can perform with a band.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So that's why I say musically Amos. Daliwonga for the flair and the performance and the vibe.
And the Bantwanas.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably say Daliwonga because he's more entertaining. There's more stuff to put on stage.
So lyrically, you give it to Daliwonga.
Lyrically, I don't know.
For the sake of the lyric master and the game.
Lyrically, I would give it to Amos because I'm also a music purist.
Yeah.
I can appreciate people who can do like very entertaining things.
Yeah.
But where my heart lies will always be on the professional musical artists. So I would have to give that to Amos.
Well, let's go old school Nyan and give a bit to gospel. I believe you've listened to some gospel Nyana growing up.
Not really.
Rebecca Malupe.
Wow.
Deborah Fraser.
I'm a Rebecca fan.
Aren't we all?
And she gives us the songs that we need to hear.
Yeah, you'll cry when you listen to it.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So even that happy birthday song, it's trending on social media.
Yeah.
She's getting the streams. That's all that matters, my sister. The
Yeah.
money's coming in. But yeah, I also appreciate Rebecca because she knows how to have fun as well. You know, some
Yeah.
people don't know how to have fun with their music, especially if they're singing about God. I appreciate the fact that she can still have fun even though she is praising the Almighty.
Yeah, and she raised us, eh?
Exactly.
She raised a lot of us. Like our parents were always playing the music out loud. So shout outs to her for that. Aaron Pinyana, then we rap it. Elaine Shakana.
Shikana, 1000%.
Yeah.
Is that even a question? I appreciate people who can write really amazing music.
Yeah.
And it's no like weirdness towards Elaine because also Elaine made us pay attention to her because she wrote her own music and produced her own EP. So that in itself is something that we need to also commend her on because she was a nobody and became a somebody all on her own back.
Yeah.
She produced the album, she wrote the music, she compiled it, everything, arranged everything.
And she executed well,
And she
eh?
executed that EP like a star.
Yeah.
So shout outs to Elaine. I give it to Shikana because Shikana's also given us range and she's given us different types of songs. So I have to give it to Shikana purely because she's played in different types of pockets.
Yeah.
She's given us pop, she's given us Afro beats, she's given us R&B, she's given us a little bit of Amapiano here and there where she plays around. So I appreciate that. And also she's given us catalog.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'd have to give it to Shikana.
And she's my favorite artist in SA. One would swear you knew. She's definitely my favorite artist in SA. Ms. Cosmo, I just want to say to you in person that you're really amazing. You're an amazing person. One of the kindest celebrities, or shall I say, people in the music industry that we have in this country. And I like the fact that you've managed to remain relevant throughout the years. We just mentioned how KO's been relevant from start to finish, but you're still relevant, right? At a time when hip-hop isn't the dominant genre in our country, but you're still getting the bookings. You're still traveling. And look at me, like I'm still out here hunting you. Like, Miss Cosmo, please come onto my platform because I know the power that you carry within you. And like I said, I believe that you have a beautiful story to tell. And I wish we could have had this for like a much longer period, but I need to respect time. You know, one thing about people in our industry is that we don't respect time. And I think also that's what short lives our careers. That's why we fuck up a lot. Just before I let you go, what is the one thing that you would like to change about the entertainment industry at large and why?
Oh, can we just treat entertainment like a 9 to 5? You wouldn't arrive late at your job la khona umlungu ozokuthethisa azokuthreatenisha ukuthi umsebenzi awekho end of the month angeke ubhadalwe niyabasabe belungu anisabi thina. That is a problem. Can we maintain professionalism? Just because you are talented does not mean you don't have to put in hard work to remain there. And everybody says opportunities happen all the time, doors open all the time. The hard work is what keeps you inside that door. Do you understand? So I think professionalism, arrive on time, be presentable, be somebody or also approachable enough to speak to. I think that there's some sort of media training that needs to kind of happen for entertainment artists to understand that there's a certain level of seriousness you need to have with this job. Just because you drink on the job doesn't mean you shouldn't take it seriously. There's people who get drunk in public places and then it's awkward now when you're trending the next day. Well, hello, you need to manage how much of it that you're having or how much drinks that you're having, because people are always pulling out their phones. So you need to understand that those things are going to happen. So again, for me, if I could make everybody 100% professional and say, hey, this is a 9 to 5, treat it like a 9 to 5, because you wouldn't do that to umlungu, then don't do it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are your own CEO over your own career. So treat yourself like a business.
Fact. I like how you said that, because if we are professional, then there's not going to be any couch casting. You know, there's not going to be come over to my place if you want to be famous.
And weird energies.
So we'll all respect each other and we'll all love each other. What's the latest for Miss Cosmo?
Jeez, I don't know. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm working on a couple of things. I think I'm focusing a lot more on like the behind the scenes stuff. I'm working. I've just started a digital agency now, so I'm working with a lot of brands and stuff. Working with micro influencers. So that's kind of my direction right now. But I'm still DJing. I'm still out here. Trying to push the culture where I can. I am working on music. Working on music is difficult as a DJ compared to as an artist, because artists can just go in there and rap for 10 songs and then release them by themselves.
Yeah.
As a DJ, I need to have features. Getting those features into studio, very difficult because it's time, it's management, it's all those things. So when the songs are ready, they'll come out. I don't want to give a timeline because I also don't know. When they come, they'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Shout out to you and thank you once again for pulling up. You're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you so much for the continued support. This is one of the platforms that's created a safe space for artists to come just tell your story. Let's talk about the music industry. Let's educate each other. You know what I mean? Let's grow each other. With that said, remember to tell a friend, to tell someone they know that DJ Lectrow is out here doing the most. That Miss Cosmo today. Put some respect on my name. Danko is thank you, Cyril's breakfast. Habash.